KEF Connect. Conversations that matter. Tune in every week for interviews with industry trendsetters and community changemakers that will instill inspiration and ignite action. Visit www.kefholdings.com and click KEF Connect to listen.
Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the last episode of the season, the last episode of Season 2, KEF Connect. My name is Dina Butti, and we have got a great episode to wrap up the season. But first, to everyone who wrote in on our last episode with Drawdeck and Incopia to tell us that you've been following them and supporting them, thank you guys so much. That's obviously one of the goals of doing this podcast. So let's definitely keep the conversation going. And guys, please stay in touch with KEF Holdings on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And of course, there's also YouTube. I'm particularly excited about today's show because we are focusing on health and wellness, a topic that I'm confident in saying has definitely become a priority for so many of us, 2020, and of course, looking forward to 2021. We're going to be learning about how people's approach to their well-being has shifted this past year and how two of our special guests today adapted their businesses to meet those needs. Now, in the studio today, we've got the woman behind Health Nag, a wonderful platform on Instagram that I've been following recently and just love. Health and wellness advocate Natasha Radatsenko. I hope I said that right.
You said it very well.
Hey, good on me.
You. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm super excited.
Thank you for being here. And we've got a beautiful yoga teacher here with a truly inspirational story, Nerry Toledo.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And God, what attractive guests I've got over here. Super fit, very health conscious, and I'm expecting to be very inspired by both of you today.
We'll make sure of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm very confident of that. So, Natasha, let's start with you. You've been an entrepreneur for over a decade. How did Health Nag kick off? Because I know it's just an educational platform, and I've seen over the years it's evolved into a business. How did that happen?
So it started with my own healing journey, which I had to kind of like get myself into because conventional medicine could not help me. So it started at the age of 25 when prior to that, I was super, super unhealthy. I was an epitome of everything unhealthy you can think of. And then when I was diagnosed with this couple of supposedly for life health issues, and I was supposed to go on a hormonal therapy and so on, and like a PCOS and hormonal issues at the age of 25 is really hits you hard.
Young.
It's super young and it doesn't make sense. So I decided to look into it and basically rejuvenate completely my lifestyle. And I think since then that's when exactly my health obsession started. It went like one habit at a time. I started to acquire more healthier eating habits, healthier lifestyle habits. I got into hot yogas, and since then I never stopped. I already own 2 yoga studios in my life, and now we still have operational drip. So yeah, it started. I think most people would agree in health and wellness industry, they all got into it because they wanted to help themselves first, right?
Yeah.
Once you succeed, that's when you feel almost like your mission to share it with everyone else. And
if it helped me so much, imagine how many others it could help. Absolutely.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on Health Nag. It's doing very, very well. I see that you're hosting all these seminars, which we're going to get to, and hopefully I'll attend the next one as well. Nerry, you want to join me?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Okay. Now, Nerry, on to you. Back in my TV days, I remember you being the ultimate PR girl we all loved, and now you're all over my feed with, killer workouts and motivational content. How and when did this shift happen?
Dina, I've been praying for this. I've been praying for this moment to actually do what I really love. Even during my corporate days, I always just looking for a death of my existence. And then when I was let go from job, then half of my heart is actually joyful. Half of it is fearful, a lot of doubts. But then when you realize actually it's all about really your life and owning your life, you're just going to go and do whatever really you're calling. And this is what I really wanted to push through.
So what pushed you towards that this time around? What was different?
It is different because I'm longing for something so real and meaningful. And teaching yoga is something that gives me that.
So you said bye-bye to the job and moved forward, finally took the plunge?
Not necessarily in that way that, bye-bye. I've been doing also some, still doing bit of a PR, but I'm doing the PR for the things that I believe into. Brands that I know that they could really help the community. And that's what I wanted. I want to use my gift to doing something good.
Well, congratulations to you. I'm happy that you're feeling more fulfilled, clearly.
Yeah.
You gave me goosebumps then when you said, I've been praying for this, so I'm happy for you.
This.
How long did it take from your decision to say, I'm going to turn my passion into a full-time career until you launched your first program?
Because you could imagine, I've been in PR industry for 12 years. It's so hard to lose the grip of something so comfortable. But when the moment you taste the freedom of owning your life, because you are just someone. But if you own who you are, you will finally really explode like this atom in the universe, and you just find yourself out there and shining and blooming with so much joy. And that's what I'm really encouraging everyone to go what the calling of your soul. It will going to lead you to much more fulfilling life.
Well, you definitely look like you're glowing now, so I'm happy to hear that and happy to see that it's worked for you, and hopefully so many of our listeners today will be motivated as well. Now, Natasha, I want to talk to both of you about this. So many small businesses struggled during the pandemic, obviously, but I feel like, I don't know about our listeners today, but for me personally, my health and improving my health became a priority in 2020 and moving forward 2021. So I imagine that both of you benefited from that shift in perspective and priority for so many people. Did you notice that shift from your audience, Natasha?
I think it became more mass market to really understand about health. Before it was more of a niche, I would say, where there were health conscious people that were following me for sure, and they were keen to learn even before COVID happened, right? But now what I feel is that whatever I've been nagging about for so long, even the certain nutrients that we need and how to take them, now it became more mass market information. So it's of course very good in a way that it's a bigger, wider message now to everyone.
As in everyone wants to take control of their health.
Yes, and for us, of course, in being in the health and wellness industry, of course, we got hit also in yoga studio. We had to shut down our studio for 3 months, and then we reopened. But we reopened quite strong as well. So we could see that people were missing this. People were missing working out. People were missing some sort of socializing, belonging somewhere, the community feel. And we pretty much got our room filled up straight away. But in the sense of Health Nag, of course, it also helped to become bigger. It helped us to thrive very fast within our blog. Yeah.
Nerry, what about you? Did you feel that shift in people's perspective and prioritizing their health helped you along the way and with your new endeavors, I should say?
Yes, it does. In a sense that now it become not only a physical thing. Like many of us are really gearing into how can we protect our mental health. So it's more about how we can be more, more calm, more peaceful. Not like I want to have the six pack. I want to have a lean body. Now they're looking for grounding. They're looking for something to hold on to, especially when everything around us are shaky and unknown. So we're always gravitating towards our home because it's always in us. It's always calling us. So it all going to return. One way or another, pandemic or without pandemic, you're always going to face the challenges in life, and there will always be a calling. You need to ground yourself. And the pandemic is actually calling them to slow down and ground yourself. So yoga or any of those fitness activities, it's not about the physical thing. It's just allowing them to get out of that zone that's weighing them down.
What did you feel like people were struggling with the most? I think for myself, I could easily say hands down, it was anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Of not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. There was a huge rise in anxieties and depressions and feeling lonely and fear, even fear, right? When COVID started, just from everywhere there was so much fear. You could feel it in the air.
In the beginning, like something's coming for you. Every night I was going to sleep and I was like, I feel like something's coming for me.
Yeah, and that is the big thing. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. This is a beautiful topic to to expand on. Even it's so important, because I always say, even in my seminars, health is never just physical. Because even thought, like a negative thought or a certain belief, can literally create a physical reaction within your body. An example would be when you think of a freshly squeezed lemon or eating a lemon, saliva is produced. That's a physical reaction to thought alone. Yeah. So in the same way, everything else works exactly the same. So a negative thought can produce a lot of cortisol and release a lot of adrenaline, and you're basically in a state of fear all the time. So we definitely need to talk about that.
I noticed some of your posts were addressing stress and how we all take it very lightly and for granted. Like, it's not a big deal. Everyone has stress, and it's just part of my
trendy, right?
Yeah, it's part of my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And we all say, I'm so stressed. Next week will be better, and it's never better. It's never better. And more than ever this year, we have good reason to be stressed. And I think, I mean, if 2021 isn't a year to get a hold of that, I don't know when is, right?
Absolutely. That's why I look at 2020 even as a positive, because of what it in a way, it's like a loving slap in the face, just waking up, right? I call it waking up year, because a lot of things came into our mind and made more sense, and we repurposed a lot of things. We changed our priorities, and that's we should be grateful for that, at least,
that aspect of things. Absolutely.
2020 was a gift.
It shook us all up. It was obviously had a lot of unfortunate consequences for a lot of people, but I hope we at least managed to learn what we can learn from it. And for me, it wasn't just the lessons that we gained from it. It was just, I hope that they stay with us and we remember. And I remember at one point when we were locked down, the amount of anxiety we had. And I was just saying, if I could just go for a walk right now, and if I could just talk to anybody, even a stranger, I know that I would be a better human. And I was like, I really hope I never forget this feeling, but you do forget, right?
Yeah.
And
Human
you get
nature.
caught up. And
Human nature.
So back to the business side of things. Obviously, you noticed an increased interest from your audiences and potential clients and so forth. But addressing the business side of things, you obviously have to meet your financial needs. And Nerry, for someone who was new to this, I know you have a yoga background. How did that go for you?
The transition is not that hard. I would always just say that I think I would say God had planned for this, because 2019, I was still in my corporate life. I've already out. I've been like the columnist in one of the biggest English newspaper here, like in the front page, cover, and writing about yoga, from Harper's Bazaar to to Emirates Woman to Vogue magazine. I've been out already, and I don't really know what's coming up. So 2020 is like, oh, is that really God? You prepare me for this. So I'm always just returning into, maybe this is really, my calling. So I'm just really braving myself, taking all the courage in me to just to go, go ahead. And guess what? After leaving the corporate life, I was able to create a program that I could really go and offer to my audiences.
And you charge them for this?
Yeah. So like I've created a yoga sculpt. For sure, you probably, yes. So I've created a yoga sculpt in 2 weeks and offer a 4-week program for everybody who are stuck at home and trying really like to find something to do, because gyms and studios were closed, and they're looking for to build their muscle, to become stronger, leaner, and losing weight and all of those things, and they've never really believed that yoga could actually do that to them. So just have a little taste of of things until they finally actually realize that yoga can actually give you everything, even beyond your wishes of losing weight. So I combine the weights and yoga asanas, and and then offer it for 4 weeks, and I run it for 3 months. So I've got that. I was able to pay my bills for that, while everybody actually surviving.
But how do you get people to go from the point where they hear about you to, especially at a time when everyone was so conservative about spending, to actually investing their own money into someone and a product that they've never heard of or tried before?
You have to be flexible.
Okay.
In time like this, you have to be flexible. You have to see where you are, where you're at the market. But you don't kill the market by just slashing your rate. It's not fair. For everyone who's listening, who's actually new yoga teacher, I would advise don't kill the market by just, lowering your rate. Have value. And really see, what you can offer. Are you just offering something that's so tangible, or you offer beyond that? And you have to be always try, your best to be not just a yoga teacher. So that's what I will really like to take all this.
I mean, when I spoke to you later, I was like, I feel like I'm in therapy right now. I feel like you should be charging me. What about you, Natasha? And obviously you have a number of businesses, but I know Health Nag got our attention, personally speaking. And what were some of the difficulties that you faced? I mean, one thing I can tell for sure is that obviously the seminars that you host obviously then had to go online, and I'm sure your yoga studio. I mean, tell us some of those challenges that you faced.
Actually, for me, I was already, because there were so many people messaging me about live seminars that they were not present in UAE even, so they were already asking me before COVID, why don't you move it online so we can also join and learn? And I already had before COVID a couple of seminars online, but of course, live seminars for me, it's always the most transformational. It's an energy exchange, it's a beautiful thing. So, but I kind of decided to do both, and I was doing both, but then COVID, of course, came, and everything had to go online, right? In terms of my business with the Health Nag, because I already was e-commerce website, for me, I did not have any issues with this concerning the COVID, right? So for people were still doing detoxes. Of course, even sales went up because people wanted to do more to support the immune system, right? So in this case was pretty much the same, if not better, right? But only the live events had to be cancelled. But I just brought it back again with a proper social distancing and everything. We just did one on this Saturday.
Oh, this just
literally
just a few days ago.
Yeah,
okay.
and we've streamed online as well, like live.
So there was the option for both.
Exactly. So there were options for both, but still a lot of people came because a lot of people would love to do it more in person. It's easier to do it during live. 5 hours talking just staring at your computer is also not healthy, right? Yeah. But people chose this option, and they can rewind and then fast forward as they want, replay it whenever they need to. But the point is just to keep spreading this message about the information, even the COVID, how to manage it when you already have it, how you can speed up the healing process, what to do after. A lot of people asking me what to do after you have already COVID. How do you support yourself? So a lot of this information I'm trying to give in, of course, not only on my page but during seminars. Yeah.
Was there one lesson that you really learned? Anything?
During the COVID?
Out? Yeah, well, about running your business. Sorry, I'm catching you completely off guard here. But
I love it. No, I love off guard. No, I think I've learned a lot that anything can happen. For sure, staying flexible and be flexible within your business. Be open to new ideas, new services. This is something that I've realized that you never can know. You can plan, but we say it in Russian. I know you if you want to plan something, tell it to the God and He'll laugh, right? Yeah. Like you can never plan. So for small businesses, it's important to plan ahead, save, right? Not to run always on your last money, because we tend to do. I'm an entrepreneur. I know sometimes I overinvest, I overstretch myself. I believe we can take over the world, because I'm also a business mind, right? So, and I've burned before in my previous businesses where I decided to, instead of one good product, I went for 20 products. I invested so much, and then if COVID would hit me, I would close my doors, right? Immediately. So it's important to grow organically, not to rush to bring in massive investors or something. Try to do it yourself. Save up on a lot of services. Do as much as you can yourself. And when you really have a lot of room to expand, when you're super comfortable and you have your emergency funding, then you can do it.
Some great advice there. Thank you so much. What about you, Nerry?
Wow.
Well, you had your experience as a yoga teacher while doing your PR, and then suddenly you're stuck with a video camera and production, and you've somehow got to go online and lead a class. And again, as Natasha was saying, it's obviously not the same trying to instruct someone via Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom. Well, we have to go with the flow, isn't it? Like, you have to always think about what you can offer to others. You always have to think about what are their needs. Right now, the people are isolated. What do they want? They can't really go out. They wanted really like to have the body that they always just wishing for. What you can do about it. So not only like the yoga thing, it makes you more creative and more resilient and more strong with really like going out there. And this situations actually, it leads you to this massive, really like huge competition out there because it's all digital. But it also an advantage for you if you want to, if you know how to do it, because your market also expanded. So the competition expanded, you're also expanded, not only, locally, but internationally. I was teaching people from France, from Denmark, from Australia, from Philippines, from India, and from Muscat, just in one Zoom.
That isn't. How did you even find that reach? That's.
I just have to be grateful.
Yeah, you start something within a couple of weeks, you're suddenly teaching. Yeah,
I don't know. It tears me really like to think that I am actually probably being really, guided. Even when I was, I came here 2008, I was no idea that it was, also during the recession time. So actually 2020 is just like nothing for me. Because I'm not really starting from the scratch. 2008, I was in the bottom.
Yeah.
I was in the bottom. I was like crying, crimpling, drenched with my own tears. 2020 for me is like, I'm ready for it. Yeah. So here you go.
It's like I've done this one.
Right? Bringing on. I think, as we said that, we've never really know how strong we are and, until we put ourselves into that situation. So it brings out the warrior in you, as you said, the yogi.
We were talking about this before and I was saying, I think because I kind of do my own thing now and I'm a freelancer and I'm constantly running around and I would have never done it had I not lost my job.
Yeah.
And I lost my job while I was, and the entire company at that time went on, the entire production part of it. And I was like, I was a few weeks pregnant and I'd been trying to get pregnant for so long. And I thought, I finally figured everything out. And you were joking about making plans and who's going to hire a pregnant woman now? And it forces you to get creative. And when you're desperate, you find the means, you make it work, and you prioritize also your passions. Because like, hey, what am I actually going to want to enjoy doing now? And I hope that's what so many people listening and, have been tuning into the last 2 seasons have been inspired to do. Listening to all of you.
Go, really, like go out in there and go after your passion. It would always lead you to the better and more fulfilling life.
I know. I mean, I was going to ask you, is there, by any chance, that would you want to go back to your desk job?
No. No. I definitely no. Once you taste the freedom of owning your life, you're never really going to go back.
Yeah.
That is like, how they say, you're only going to look back only to learn, but never really like to return yourself
or to see how far you've come, right now.
Yeah.
But also,
but you've always been an entrepreneur. I feel like you were an entrepreneur from day one.
And I like what you said about like, if you wouldn't lose your job, you wouldn't be where you are. And it's true for everyone. It's about sometimes circumstances needs to be there uncomfortable. Otherwise, we just simply would not have a courage to start something new. So it needs to be. And same for the relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
the blessings in disguise.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And it's also about mindset. A lot of people during COVID lost weight, got really fit, completely restructured their lifestyle. And a lot of people actually got fat and got even worse. So it's about mindset. It's about same situation for many people. It's just how you, if you.
I was going to say did both. Most of the people I know, including myself, gained a lot of weight and then lost a lot of weight. Yeah, it was interesting. It's like that different discussion, different topic. But I was going to say there's the last few episodes we've done here on KEF Connect have had the similar theme where people have been wanting to turn their passions into full-time jobs, and this pandemic kind of pushed them to do that, whether it inspired them or kind of left them or forced them to put them in that position where they were forced to. So for people who are still hesitating to take that plunge, what advice would you give them or what would you tell them?
So for me, yeah, as you mentioned before, I've always been an entrepreneur. So for me, it was I'm a very emotional businesswoman, you can call it. Like it would always start with a passion. So the financial gains never my priority. So you can actually track my personal interests throughout my career, like completely. First I got so into hot yoga myself. I was going every single day, and then I'm like, okay, perfect. Now that every time I'm coming to the class, there's so many people, there is no room for everyone, so let's open another yoga studio. So I went to US for like intense 2-week training. I came back and I opened the studio. Then I went vegan, right? So I'm like, okay, no more dairy, no more sugar, no more gluten. Where do I go? There was nothing. I'm like, okay, perfect, zing, business idea. Let's do it. And I put it on my money, right? I put my own money. I burned them at the end, so don't always. You need to understand that there can be both. You need to prepare, but it was my own fault. As I mentioned before, I overextended myself. I wanted let's go global.
But hey, you never gave up, right? One thing didn't work out. You moved on to the next. You learned from your mistakes.
So that was a big mistake. Then Drip came. The opportunity brought me alive immediately. I'm like, let's do another yoga studio. Let's do it better this time. Let's do it bigger. Let's bring more new classes. We did. Then Health Nag was in parallel with the Drip. Started to nag people about health. Brought in detox product. So for me, I was always very entrepreneurial. It's very difficult for me to follow someone else's dream. So I will always be, I'm a risk taker, you know, and it's a fire and passion that I cannot get rid of, you know. So, but for somebody who is a bit scared, I would just say definitely do it, because most people would assume that I have more talent or something else. No, I just have courage, because now, especially in the times of Google or internet, you really can do everything. There is a book for absolutely every skill that you want to learn. So whatever you want to do, just start and go with the flow and learn during the process, because as long as you have that fire, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Ladies, you've got me revved up here. I'm like, I need to start a business.
Yes.
Do it.
Nerry, what about you? Any advice?
I totally agree with Natasha for that. Just go for it. We've waited for too long to live our life. When are you going to start? Mm-hmm. So this life is always happening now. And I do believe that we're here on the planet for a purpose. And it's only when we slow down, listen, and really following our inspiration that we'll be able to, to be happy. We keep on chasing for that, but we never really listen to it. We just chase. But when are you going actually to listen to your calling? So take that courage. You have everything in you to succeed. We are privileged to actually have everything inside of us to go for what makes you happy. All you have to do is take courage and take that first step.
Well, thank you both so much for being on the show. You've got me all worked up and excited. And,
yes,
and I'm really excited to see what both of you do for 2021.
Thank you.
Anything you want to cue us into quickly?
Oh. I'm working on it.
Like, I've got 10 businesses.
I am the person who can never stop. Yeah, and people laugh at me. They always say, Natasha, you have to focus, which partially I would also give everyone the same exact advice. But unfortunately, my personality cannot, because I cannot just focus on one thing. If somebody will have a look inside my mind, it's like...
Too many tabs open, they say, right?
It's quite chaotic in my mind. But definitely, we're working on a wellness resort now outside UAE. We're working on an online functional medicine clinic now to bring all the best specialists for gut health, for hormonal health, for fertility. Not conventional medicine, but move more towards holistic, natural medicine to fix the chronic issues, right? So this is my next step. This is a big project. I'm really looking forward to it.
Amazing. Best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Nerry, anything you want to?
Good, Natasha.
Nerry's like, I'm going with Natasha.
You're right.
She's hiring you after the show.
On my team.
Well, for me, aside from continuous really working on to discovering more about myself, I really want to pursue the yoga for people of determination. I've started doing that program for them. So it's all about like 2021. I really hope that I will be, given this opportunity to continue really reaching out for those people that I couldn't really see in the studio. Natasha, I'm looking at you. We need to work on this.
Absolutely.
I love to see, woman, on wooden leg, people in wheelchair to come, in the studio or, practice yoga. They belong to the society. They need to be seen, heard, and, feel being loved. So I want really
great
to start
initiative.
really doing that. I'm really hoping, and that's like my ultimate, goal for this yoga thing. I want them.
And can I just add one more thing in regards to the yoga? Because I personally have been doing this for 12 years and I was like addict for Bikram yoga. I believe it changed my life because I was so sick on so many levels. But also during this process, I've seen a lot of people who were also, some for example, were paralyzed, even the right side could not move, or there were like one girl could not put her head backwards because her muscles were so tight. She would have to take a muscle relaxant all the time. And then after like only 4 months of practicing Bikram yoga, she was actually able to, rotate her head fully, first time in her life without muscle relaxant. So I've seen miracles. So for me, I will never ever ever stop doing hot yoga. It's part of me. It's engraved already, and I definitely wish everyone to do it. Not just yoga. I'm just into hot yoga, but the yoga overall, right? Like all levels of yoga should be more of our lifestyle, part of our lifestyle, basically.
It saved me twice already, so I could.
My boys are doing it at school, so I feel like it is part of our future.
And that's one another thing.
Part of the
I
curriculum.
really wanted to tap the school. I love that the kids will really start into mindfulness. There are the next generation. It has to start now,
Well,
really
hopefully
now
it is.
for all of these kids.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing your story and your tips. And Nerry, everyone can check you out on Instagram at NerryFit or nerryfit.com. And of course, Natasha, you can tune into at health_nag. On Instagram, healthnag.com. And people can also check out your yoga studio, Drip, and that's DRYP, correct?
You got it right.
I got it.
I hope to see you soon there too.
I will be there, hopefully. So a major thank you to everybody tuning in today and for supporting KEF Connect for the last 2 seasons. We've had so many homegrown businesses on the show who have shared all of their stories and truly inspired us. And we hope that you've enjoyed their stories as much as we have. Again, you can listen to all the episodes of KEF Connect by visiting kefholdings.com and going to the KEF Connect page. We're also available on various streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and the Podbean podcast app. Please continue to reach out to us with your feedback, your comments. You can check us out on KEF Holdings on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube.